and welcome to the Astranti Strategic Analysis video for the August operational case study on Wise Choice Hotels. Now, it's an interesting case for us to look at, as I'm sure it's something we've all experienced in the past. We've all been to a hotel, whether that is as a business customer, as someone on holiday, or someone just staying with family and friends for a few days but not wanting to stay in their actual house. But the point is, it's something we've all experienced. But it's probably something that most of us don't know much about. We don't actually know about what goes on behind the scenes in a hotel. It's also worth noting that it's one of the first times that the operational case study has been based on anything other than a manufacturing entity. So what do we know about Wise Choice Hotels so far? We know that it's a successful company, it's a family-owned business, and it's currently operating in Mackman. That's a very brief summary of the context of the organisation. And this particular video is going to look at the company in the context of the various strategic models that you will have learnt during your studies, during your objective test studies, F1, P1 and E1. And we're going to do this ultimately by looking at the rational model. This is what we're going to tie everything back to. So we're going to look at where the company currently is, using various tools such as brand analysis, the 7 Ps marketing mix, the value chain, the business environment in which it operates in, where we want to be. What does Wise Choice Hotels want to be in the future? Where are they ultimately heading? And finally, how they are going to get there. Once we've looked at where they are and where they want to be, we need to look at how they are going to get there. I'm going to kick off by looking at where they want to be, where Wise Choice Hotels want to be in the future. And the first thing we're going to look at here is mission statements. Now, mission statements are all about illustrating to the wider public what you are about. What are you trying to achieve? What is Wise Choice Hotels trying to achieve? And this is not only for the wider public, but it's also for the employees of the organisation, because it helps keep them focused. They have a mission, they have a goal, they have an objective to focus on. Everyone is in the same boat, working towards the same goal. And of course, in the pre-scene, there wasn't actually any information about a mission statement. The directors had not given us any information on what they were trying to achieve. But of course, we can perhaps infer some objectives by the fact that the business exists, by the fact that the company is looking to expand, it's looking to improve, it's looking to become a major player in the hotel industry within Mackman. So let's take a look at the 4 elements of mission statements and see how they can apply to Wise Choice Hotels. So the first one here is purpose. Why does the organisation exist? Who does it exist for? Well, of course, it exists for customers. It's looking to become a major name in the hotel industry. We know that it primarily, at the moment, exists for corporate customers. A majority of Wise Choice Hotels business comes from business clients, and a huge proportion of those business clients are put there directly by corporate customers. So organisations paying for their employees to stay in the hotel. Now, does the company want to continue doing this? Does it want to get a stronger footing in this market? Or does it also want to break into the leisure market? And if so, what kinds of different objectives will it have to have? Will it have to bring in more facilities for leisure customers? Business customers may be staying there for one night and just need a place to stay before going off in the morning. Leisure customers will need better food. They'll need more facilities, gyms, spas, golf courses even. So the target market of the organisation, who it exists for, is actually very important when it comes to its operations. The next one is strategy. So how is the organisation going to compete? Is it going to compete on price by being cheaper than the rest? Or is it going to compete by being different from the rest? Now, being different means you can often charge a higher price, but does it also mean you are going after a more niche market? So this is the range that the business is operating in. Now you'll remember I mentioned above about how at the moment they're appealing mainly to corporate customers, but of course corporate customers may want different things than holiday makers, and therefore will it be possible to target both markets, because of course each one has different needs, and therefore it may be impossible to have a hotel that fulfills both needs. So it could be that we make one hotel purely for corporate customers, and we build the decor, we build the facilities of the hotel purely around corporate customers, and then we have another hotel in a different location that we build purely around leisure customers. And this of course will need a more comprehensive split between hotels. We could not have one person managing both hotels. We'd need a specialist corporate hotel manager running one and a specialist holiday hotel manager running the other. Now, values, what the organisation stands for. Again, this ties with strategy, particularly when it comes to value for money and innovation. So value for money, obviously competing on price, innovation, competing on being different. But of course, one thing that can apply to both of them is quality. Now, in the pre-scene, we learn a lot about how Wise Choice Hotels values its staff. It puts a lot of effort into its staff. It's got them on better contracts than the industry standard because it expects a lot from them. It expects its employees to be the best in the business, to be the most helpful, the most friendly, etc. And this ties into policies, so things that employees of the organisation are expected to follow. It could be that in the induction for new employees, the mission statement takes centre stage. It's the first thing that they read when they open their induction booklet. What is expected of you? We expect you to be diligent towards customers' needs. We expect you to smile. We expect you to empathise with the needs of any customers. And once we put all this together, we should be able to come up with a mission statement, which of course was not given in the pre-scene, but based on what we've gone so far as, say, an acceptable mission statement or a suggested mission statement for Wise Choice Hotels could be something like serving Macklin's corporate clientele with a good quality and good value service with a smile. And of course that would tie a lot of these elements in. They're mainly there so far to serve corporate customers. They pride themselves on quality and the expectations of their employees at a good price. So, as I said before, there weren't really many objectives within the case study. It did, however, say that they had a decentralized structure where each manager was in charge of their particular hotel and they were responsible for it. So, of course, we must be sure that there is ways in which the company can accurately measure performance. Because of course you cannot judge a hotel manager on the performance of the hotel without a solid, objective way of measuring performance. Now this could be purely in financial terms, how much profit was made. It could be how much revenue was made. Not worrying about cost because it's all about building a base at the moment, and therefore revenue is more important. We'd rather have more customers than more profit, because profit will come later as the company gets more established. Are we judging them based on costs? How well have they kept costs in control? Can they keep costs in control? After all, some costs can and some costs can't. For example, if your business relied heavily on fuel, such as petrol or diesel, then you cannot necessarily be judged by costs spent on petrol and diesel, because petrol and diesel is set by external bodies and is directly related to the oil price. And oil price is such a huge, heavily politicized global thing that one particular hotel has no impact on the oil price. And it's worth noting that if they do not have specific targets, then that is a weakness in the company. The directors need to pull together and come up with a strategy. Because as I said in the previous page, if they do not have a clear objective, a clear goal, then there is nothing for all employees to come together and work towards. it acts as a motivator, and so to not have this motivator is a negative. One thing I've also mentioned here is the balanced scorecard and how that may work. Now, balanced scorecards are about performance objectives, not just financial objectives. They include non-financial performance measurements. So, for example, if high quality service is one of the objectives of the organization, then of course this cannot be measured purely in financial return. It is based on the satisfaction of staff. Now, you'll remember, if you've looked at the pre-scene, there was a section towards the end about different reviews that had been left on the website by people who had used the hotel. Some were good, some were bad, and there was also an average score for particular hotels. So a non-financial performance objective could be to get the average rating of the hotel up to a certain amount. For instance, hotels 1, 2 and 3, the average rating was all above 8 out of 10. So for them, we could have a new target to get the average rating up to 9 out of 10. Or for Hotel 4, where the average rating was 6.9 out of 10, to get that up to or over 8. So that would be in line with the rest of the hotels. We don't want Hotel 4 to be lagging behind the rest. And that would be a key way of measuring customer satisfaction. And of course, that should be a key non-financial objective of the organisation. Which brings us on to critical success factors, so factors that the organisation needs to achieve, things that are important to the organisation. And as with any company, future plans should be built around the current strengths of the organisation. The company should compete where it is strong. It shouldn't go up against a company that's strong where our company is weak, because we're likely to lose. So we need to build on the strengths of the organisation, because that is what we do best. So let's look at some of the critical success factors of the organisation, of Wise Choice Hotels. So first of all, excellent quality. They pride themselves on providing a good service, and in the service industry this is incredibly important, because of course good quality service means that customers are likely to come back, and that's what service industries, what hotels, restaurants, bars are based on. They're based on repeat business, particularly for corporate customers, because whilst the same employee may not stay at the hotel that often, if that organisation, that corporation is based in South Castle, then they're going to be bringing in people constantly for business. And therefore, we need their repeat business. We need to know that they are satisfied with the service that we provide to their employees to keep coming back. After all, there is a marketing saying that it costs 20 times as much to bring in a new customer as an existing customer. So it stands to reason that good quality is a necessity for Wise Choice Hotels, because they need to bring in repeat business, which of course links to customer satisfaction. Now, there was a lot of information on customer satisfaction and customer reviews in the case study, and again that links back to repeat business. Passionate founders as well. Founders often drive an organisation. They're the driving force behind it. They put a lot of their time and a lot of effort into it. And we saw that the founders of the organisation, Molly and John, were still heavily involved, as were their spouses. Now, they're important because they have the original vision. They have the vision for what they want Wise Choice Hotels to be. And of course, they need to install that on the rest of the staff. And if you want proof that they are passionate and that they care for the business, if you look at the financial statements, you can see that the retained earnings, the running total of retained earnings for 2015 went up from 2014 by exactly the amount of profit that they made in 2015. So the company or the founders are not taking any of the money out as dividends, as payments to themselves. They have reinvested it all in the business. A diversified channel. They've become aware that they cannot necessarily continue to grow based purely on the hotels or purely on the corporate market. They need to branch out, or they're starting to branch out into other areas. They recognize the importance of increasing the revenue from the bars and restaurants. So, we can expect some more information in the unseen about how they plan on doing this. We saw in the pre-scene that there was quite a low turnout to the bar and restaurant from staff, from customers currently staying in the hotel. The highest was 60%. So even in the best hotel, 40% of the guests of the hotel are still not using the bar or the restaurant. And of course, the profit margin on food and drink is very high, probably a lot higher than a room is, and therefore the more people they can get into the bar, into the restaurant, the more money they'll make. Perpetually growing is very important to the organisation. It's only been around for a few years, so perhaps it's not at the stage where it can consolidate and live off what it has. It needs to keep growing. It needs to build, to carve itself out a share of the market so that it can then consolidate that share. And we can see that they are interested in this because of the fact they bought so many hotels so quickly. They started with one hotel in 2015. 10 years later, we now have 4 hotels. And there should be plans to build or to buy more. And finally, corporate clients. As I've already spoken about the importance of corporate clients, what they make up, what proportion they make up of the current clientele of the business. And also that also important repeat business that will allow the company to continue growing and continue existing. And next up we have stakeholder analysis. Now stakeholders are people who are affected by the business. It doesn't necessarily need to be someone who's involved in the business, doesn't need to be a customer, doesn't need to be an owner, a shareholder, or even an employee. It can be someone who is just affected by the fact that your hotel is there, by the fact that your business is there. And what is good for one shareholder or stakeholder is not necessarily good for the other. Now, a classic example of this would be a distribution company that's starting to deliver products at night, or starting to send things out of its warehouse by truck at night. Now this may be good for the drivers, the employees, because it means there's opportunity for them to work night shifts rather than day shifts, and perhaps earn more money for working the night shifts. It works out well for shareholders because it means the company can do more business and therefore make more money. It works out well for customers because it means they can get their products more on demand. But it may not work for the people who live in the housing estate next to the distribution centre, because it now means they're going to have loads of lorries coming and going during the middle of the night when they're trying to sleep. So that is a classic example of how a stakeholder can be affected by something that seems like a good thing for every other stakeholder. And it's all about balancing the needs of stakeholders. So I hope you've enjoyed this sample video and more importantly found it useful. Before I go, I'd like to quickly tell you about a few of the products that we do here at Astranti Financial Training, specifically for our case study courses. We have a study text which details all the key theories in which you will be expected to use in your case study exam, as well as details of how to approach the pre-scene and the case study. We also have a series of course videos detailing how to answer case study questions. This is actually an area in which many students struggle. Most of the scripts that I've seen, the failing scripts that I've seen, has actually been due to poor case study technique rather than lack of knowledge. We also have a series of pre-scene analysis videos based on the current up-to-date pre-scene, detailing all the key bits of information and likely issues you may face in the exam. Next up is the industry analysis, a pack detailing information about the industry that the pre-scene company resides in, information about the key players within that industry, and more background information on the industry in general. We also have a range of mock exams created for each level and based on the current pre-scene, which is a great way to get some practice in before you sit the real thing. We also offer marking and feedback on those mock exams so you can see where you are going wrong and where you can improve. Finally, we have the master classes. These are 2 one-day classes taken by our expert tutors to give you all the hints and tips you need to really add to your chances of passing the exam. Also, if you take our full course, we offer a pass guarantee, which, provided you have met all the requirements of the pass guarantee, you will get a free resit on the next exam should you fail to pass. So once again, thank you for your time. If you're interested in any of these products, please visit the website www.astranti.com for more information. Thank you.